And now, this world shall know pain. Almighty push!
Hi, my name is Andrew Newcomb Jr.
I am Saftey, and we're about to talk about cooking process safety. Cooking is a everyday part of life to certain people, so we can often forget the dangers behind it. And now we're going to talk about how to cook safely and hopefully have fun doing it and make really good food.
First thing we're going to do is clean up a little bit, because a clean workspace fosters a healthy environment.
Now you can see how this would get in the way. This would cause possible trips and falls. It's just not safe to have an oven open, and let's stack things together. Kind of organization help us kind of get things out the way.
First thing we're going to do is wash our hands. Soap and warm water.
Very thoroughly. We've had a busy day. We don't know where our hands have been, and if we're going to ingest it, we have to make sure our hands are clean. So let's wash our hands. Got you.
Thank you.
I like to wash my chicken because some people don't really do that and believe in that. But I think it's a very important part because you don't know where the chicken's coming from, to have a sanitary meal.
Some people don't even season their chicken. We won't name those.
So I'm going to put all my seasonings in a bowl so we can reduce the amount of interaction with the chicken, its raw, and the seasoning. All the canisters, because all the contamination will stay on them and it would make someone sick possibly.
Prior to cooking, make sure your area is cleared. Make sure there is nothing on the stove. Potential fire hazard is a clog. If this was a gas stove, it would ignite immediately. I'm going to wipe down the stove prior to turning it on to make sure everything is clear. I'm going to turn on the stove now.
Now we're going to thoroughly wash the vegetables to make sure they're clean. Oftentimes pesticides are used to grow these vegetables, and also they're handled by a lot of different people. So let's thoroughly wash them before use. Now that I've thoroughly washed these vegetables, I'm about to cut them. The important part of cutting vegetables or just using a knife is keep your finger away from the knife. Give yourself a good amount of space because you don't want to have any cuts and nicks from the knife. And just like that.
Now, we're going to work on our canned goods section. Before we open it up, we're going to wash the top around it so that when we do open it up, the stuff that was on the top before we washed it, doesn't seep in. A little bit of soap. Wash the soap off afterwards. Now, we're going to use an electric can opener. So we want to make sure that our area is nice and dry before we plug it in. Dry my hands real quick. Now, I'm going to plug in the can opener, making sure that the area is completely dry. Now, I'm going to use the can opener, the electric can opener, and open the can, but keeping in mind that the area around the can opener is pretty sharp. Beautiful.
So again, we're going to use a blender. It's another electronic item. We have to make sure that the area is also clean and dry before we plug it in. And while we use the blender, we have to make sure that the cup is securely fastened so that nothing won't fly off, and make sure it's secure. Kind of feel it lock in. Now that the chicken is done cooking, we'll turn the stove off, make sure it's turned off very well. It's very, very important, especially if it was a gas stove. If you leave it on and the flame goes out, there could be a possible spark and it will cause a fire in the house. And it's another thing to keep in mind that when we move the pot, that we have the proper PPE. We only have one oven mitt though, because that's what we have. And hot metal looks the same as cold metal, so we have to make sure. We don't know how hot it is. Alright, now we're gonna put the chicken in the oven. We've already preheated the oven, so keep in mind the oven is actually very hot right now. So when we open it, we have to be very careful. I still have my PPE on, and I have doubled the foil so that it'll be enough weight to carry all the chicken. And now, carefully, we put it into the oven, and now we'll wait. Next, we're gonna put some oil in the pot for the rice, and it's important that you never put oil into a hot pot because it could be a possible flame hazard, and it's just not a good practice. So I will turn the stove on, and I'll add the oil. Now that the oil is hot and ready, we can add the puree in. It's important to add the puree slowly and controlled so that the oil won't splash back on us. So let me turn this over and just add. Very clean. Now we need to flip the chicken. Again, since we're using the oven, we have to make sure we have the correct PPE. And this tray should slide out below so we can easily pull this out and flip the chicken. Now that most of our cooking is done, we can clean up. It's important to keep in mind that as we clean our knives, we make sure that we clean them in a safe way. So turn it to the back, clean. Get them out the way as well. Make sure not to cut ourselves. We've been doing very well about being safe. Don't let the water splash too much. Kind of turn it down. And when you put it up, point it downwards so that the next person that comes and gets it won't be at risk of getting injured. And also with the blender, if your blender is the type that you can take the bottom off, it's possible to take the bottom off and wash them separately. Now that we've enjoyed safe cooking, we can enjoy this meal even more. Always have water close by to avoid choking hazards.
Itadakimasu!
Itadakimasu.